What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Big O back in the building with yet another brand new video. Just want to take a second to say thank you to everyone who was tuning in, and I hope all of you are having a glorious day. And today I will be bringing you my February 2019 update on all the turtles. Probably should have put this video out last week, but it is what it is. Most likely we'll try to spread these monthly updates out. Probably not do them every month, maybe do a kind of a bi-monthly thing, because you know, a full update video every 4 videos might get a little boring after a while. But who knows? Anywho, as you can see, before us we have the maniacal Mr. Shady, who is my subadult male narrow bridge musk turtle, Claudius angustatus, and he's looking better than ever. He's continually improving. I've had this guy for less than a year, and I've mentioned it before in previous videos that when I received him, he wasn't looking in the greatest of shape, especially his carapace. It was looking all just chewed up and unhealthy. And we've been slowly but surely sort of on the road to recovery with this guy. I mean, he was always pretty active. He always had a pretty good appetite, but he just wasn't looking his best. Another thing about him was for the first few months when I received him, he would not accept anything to eat except pellets. And now he is on a very varied diet. He's eating all sorts of pellets. He's eating whole frozen thawed rodents. He's eating grasshoppers and crickets and roaches and worms and little chunks of chicken hearts and chicken livers and chicken gizzards and all sorts of delicious little goodies. So it did take a while. He was pretty much refusing everything, but we finally got him to open his mind, and he's taking it all down with gusto. Now he's acting like you would expect a normal narrow bridge musk turtle to act when it comes to food, that is. And even though I just fed them about an hour ago, he is expecting more food. Again, as you would expect a narrow bridge musk turtle to behave. But he's still in this 55-gallon. And he likes to decorate it himself. All the stuff in here has been moved around by him. It's completely different from when I first set it up, but it's kind of his thing. So, you know, let him do him. And he seems happy. Being filtered, of course, by the FX6. And, you know, nothing much has changed. Still got my same old lighting units. Got the UVB right here. Got the heat bulb right here. Here is his basking area, which he doesn't really use that often, but he does come up here from time to time. And there's the tubing for the filter back there. And that's pretty much it. Probably gonna be getting rid of this 55-gallon pretty soon and replacing it with maybe a 75, maybe a 90-gallon, who knows. If things get real crazy, I'll get one of those 120-gallon tall tanks. But like I said, who knows? We're still trying to decide on what's gonna happen there. Details pending on that. But if I turn around, we have my two 40-gallon breeders that are sitting side by side on this iron stand here. And on the one on the left is my trio of striped neck musk turtles. Here's my oldest, largest female. I've had her, excuse me, I've had her for almost 10 years now. And she's awesome. Here in the shadows is the smaller female. Had her for just under a year as well. And if I can find him, he can be pretty elusive because he likes to bury himself in the sand. But right about now, I cannot see the male anywhere. Oh, there he is. You can barely see him. He's half buried in the sand under this little hide that I have for them. Yeah, it's dark down there, and with that glare, you're barely gonna see him. But that's the back of his carapace right there. And that's as good of a shot as we're gonna get of him today. So yeah, hopefully in the near future I will be adding to this group. But we'll see what the future holds for them. This, of course, is being filtered by, it's pretty dark on that side, by 2 Aqua Clear 110s. There's one there, and then there's one back there. And it's not gonna focus. So, and again, we have the nest box that is full of sand, and right here is the heat bulb. Right here is the UVB. I have it more over the water because they usually come up here and they climb up this driftwood and they kind of hang out up here to catch a breath. So I figure this area is the best area for them to kind of receive the UVB because they're not really basking very often. Many times I actually catch them here at night. So if I can, when you have musk turtles and you have them in a setup similar to this one, you kind of got to strategize where you put your UVB lighting. I mean, you know, that is if you're housing them indoors. If they're outdoors, then you don't have to worry about UVB lighting. But mine are in here, so I have strategically placed it there so that they are absorbing some UV. And yeah, nothing much has changed in this tank other than the fact that I've recently added a few platies. There's about 7 or 8 of them in here. I'll probably be adding another handful. And with any luck, they shall reproduce. There's also a bunch of ghost shrimp in here, but I doubt we will get to see any right now. And as I said before, I would like to add more to the group, but when I do, I will probably be looking to put them in a larger enclosure because they are only in a 40-gallon breeder. And 2 out of the 3 aren't fully grown yet, so they still have a pretty good amount of room in here. There's a little female right there. And there's the big female there. As you can see, there's a bit of a difference in their coloration. She's like a little bit more on the sandy kind of side. And she's more of a kind of a dark caramel color, which I really, really like. But yeah, grab a couple of more of these guys and hopefully move them into a larger enclosure. As we move along, we see my little guy right here. This is my adult male Escambia map turtle. Sometimes they're commonly referred to as Ernst's map turtle. Scientific name is Graptemes ernsti. I don't think I mentioned on these, by the way, the scientific name, which is Stenotherus minor peltifer, for those of us who are interested. Back to this little guy. I've had this guy for pretty close to 10 years also. I got him not very long after I got my adult female striped neck. And he's a really cool guy. The only thing that I kind of like about this guy is that I originally had him, when I first got him, I had a couple other map turtles, and I had my female striped neck. And there's a couple of turtles that I had back then that I have since rehomed. But I had them in sort of a community setting, and as they started sort of reaching their maturity, the males at least, This guy became like the biggest sexual harasser on the face of the earth, man. He just wouldn't leave any other turtle alone. Male, female, didn't matter what species. It's just 100% of the time, just in their face with all the head bobbing. I don't know if, for those of us who don't know about sort of map turtle courtship behavior, they sort of swim face to face with the female, and like they kind of like bob their head in this sort of jerky, vibratory sort of fashion. And he just will do that non-stop to any turtle that he comes to contact with. So he, for the last I don't know, year and a half or so, has been a good solid year. He's been housed alone in this 40-gallon breeder. Well, he's actually in the 55 first before I got the narrow bridge musk, and then I moved him into this 40-gallon breeder. But yeah, this guy, unless he's gonna be with females, you know, of the same species, then I'm just gonna have to house this guy alone because he is relentless. But you know, other than that, he's awesome. I love him. And if I move the camera back a little bit, you can see he has a bunch of fish in here with him. There's a few tetras in here. There's a bunch of platies, and there's a handful of these cory cats. One is back there, just swam by, I can barely see him. But there's about 5 of them in here. They're in hiding. Let's see, move all the way back so you can kind of get a full view of the what the enclosure looks like. And this is about as big as he's gonna get, so he will be doing just fine in this 40-gallon breeder. Until I decide to move him up into something larger. Who knows where he'll end up, because he has plenty of living to do. All these guys do, as a matter of fact. So, as we move on to the final enclosure, it is the infamous Montezuma, my female giant Mexican musk turtle, Pacific Coast giant Mexican musk. This is the Salvini, not the Triplicatus. So she's probably just over 6 inches, and they grow really slowly. She may have some more growing to do, but you know, wouldn't surprise me if she didn't grow much more than what she is now. You can't really tell just from me filming her, but she is pretty hefty. She's like a tank. Strong as an ox too. And she's totally chill when she's in the water. I can like put my hands in there, like right next to her, and like, you know, do whatever maintenance I have to do, or you know, reach in there and grab a piece of driftwood and pull it out and put a new one in. Whatever I got to do, I have no problems with her doing stuff like that. But once I grab her and pick her up out of the water, oh man, all bets are off. It's like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Very, very comfortable, very confident, very personable while they're in the water. As soon as you pick them up, they are not happy at all. Mouth is open, ready to strike. And if this girl were to get a hold of you and decide not to let go, oh man, I wouldn't even want to imagine what that might look like. Sometimes she strikes at, you know, the fish or, you know, whatever else is that she may be striking at, and her face kind of like hits the glass, and it's kind of unbelievable how loud the sound is and how hard it sounds like it sounds like a rock hitting the glass. It's pretty extraordinary. But she never really strikes at me. She kind of just opens her mouth. I'm not really worried about her. The one that I do take extra precaution with is my narrow bridge musk. Part of the reason why his name is Mr. Shady, because if any one of these turtles is going to bite me, it's definitely going to be him. And that's something I'm definitely not looking forward to either, because his mouth is very similar to hers. Very similar species. They behave very similarly. I would say that their habitat requirements and their diet and the temperature ranges and all that are pretty similar. I would say almost pretty close to identical, actually. And I do really keep them both in the same way. But I think the one thing that I am going to add to maybe both of them, she doesn't really seem like she needs it as much, but I am thinking about adding shallow water platforms to both of their enclosures. The narrow bridge musk is probably definitely going to get one. Probably, definitely. But yeah, I'll eventually end up making him one, but I still haven't decided if I want to provide one for her, because she seems to be fine. He, on the other hand, seems to like to rest a lot. And he has a bunch of plants floating towards the surface, and that's what he uses sort of as a little bed. But I'll probably just throw a platform in there, provide a proper area. But yeah, other than that, I do kind of treat them both the same in regard to the husbandry. And as far as fish, there's quite a bit of fish in here. We have some red-tailed cats, we have some tiger barbs, and some Buenos Aires tetras. Those orangey ones right here, those are actually albino tiger barbs. So, and I thought they looked pretty cool, so I grabbed some. I did have some crayfish in here, but she took them out quick, fast, and in a hurry. She goes absolutely nuts for those things. And they don't last very long. There were 3 pretty good sized crayfish, and they were gone in less than 6 hours. She does not mess around. That's why I'm surprised. I'm always as surprised as I am that these fish last as long as they do. Because she definitely has the capability to take them out at will. But she lets them live. Go figure. So yeah, those are all my turtles. That is how they're doing. This is where they're living. And everything is everything. You already know. Hit that like, subscribe, click that notification bell. Questions, comments, concerns, leave them down in the comment section. And until the next time, happy reptile keeping. Peace.